What with me, Tim, is my favorite comfort television or comfort YouTube. Over the last couple of years, I've really got into watching What With Me Tim channel. Got to know Tim, his wife Gabby, their son Casper, who sometimes goes on their trips, and it really is in the style of the old-fashioned British travel show before we could all go to lots of exciting places. And those who followed Tim's career have seen him go up to getting 5 million views for some of his videos, all the way from around 50,000 when he started, which is still pretty amazing. The thing about Tim is that it is in the style of the old-fashioned, comfortable, and informative. The thing that I like about it is it feels familiar, and we get to see Tim go to all different kinds of locations. Now, he started off very much at the beginning of the boom of filming terrible hotels and awful experiences. And now, through the success of the channel, Tim goes to some of the more wonderful places around the world for one night or two nights and really gets to see. But he still has the same approach to these wonderful places as he does to the others. A likable chap who uses some of the same phrases in each video, adding to that familiarity. I find him quite funny at times. I find him a bit like a friend that I have, in the sense he has lots of sort of dad jokes and um, certain foibles and quirks that he has as he goes along. They're always filmed really well. Lots of information. Always talking about how many people can you get in the shower. And I really liked him. There's an innocence there. There's a fun there. Sometimes a little bit of a lack of self-awareness. There's a little bit of an Alan Partridge vibe at times, which is very endearing. Gabby has a little bit more of a kind of humorous edge to her approach to things, so she adds a really nice vibe to it. And they're just a lovely family, they really are. So it's really nice to see their success. So what I've done is I've put together a little compilation. A compilation of some of Tim's best moments or things that I find interesting, and I'm going to do a live stream where I watch these back and talk about them. So I hope you can join me and talk about What With Me Tim with me.
And here I am. So this is going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to be my. I guess I was going to say I'm not going to be my usual self. I am. It's a bit more of a wholesome thing than the kind of horror films that I might watch or terrible things I might watch. Now, probably this was the worst possible time to do some research. I started going on the Reddit for What With Me Tim, and there's loads of wild, different kind of opinions. But I really have enjoyed this channel for the last couple of years. It's been really good during, I think, starting lockdown. So to kind of give me I really like the grotty, horrible, disgusting hotel reviews that he did. And now, because of his success, he's able to go and explore some of these 5-star, 6-star, ridiculous 7-star things. And like I say, some people are like, oh, he's brought his wife and his kid along, but I actually quite like that. I think that's good. This is all about, as you just saw in the video, walk with me Tim walk with me Tim, which is a fantastic YouTube channel that has been, it's very successful, doesn't need my support certainly, but just thought I was kind of open up the conversation a little bit for that comfort TV or comfort YouTube channels where we're going now. I guess things that we always watch. There used to be appointment TV. We used to always watch the same thing at the same time on the same channel, but now I guess it's more likely we watch something on YouTube. So yeah, it's hopefully it'll open you up if you've not seen it before to something a bit different. It is quite kind of old fashioned in a way. It's something you definitely see on TV, maybe in the 90s or beyond that. But I don't think that makes it bad. I've got some people in the chat already. Oh, thank you, Nate. I've got a new camera. Maybe that's making it look a bit better. I don't know, but I got a new camera. It does a bit of a auto zoom on it as well. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I can switch that off if it's not so good. But yeah, new camera. Bit of a better connection. My old laptop died, so yeah, fingers crossed. This is a little bit better. So, what with me, Tim? It's good to see you doing so well. Pat Master channel doing so well. OST doing really, really well at the moment. He's posting so many cool videos about different films and filming locations videos that I really enjoy. He just did one for Ref, which I thought was a really good really good one that Nate did recently. Oh, thanks, man. So yeah, so we're going to look at some of Tim's videos. I'm not going to ramble too much. I'm going to show you some of like his oldest ones, his most popular ones. Obviously, the most popular ones have been quite recent. One of them where I think he went to like a 7-star. I didn't even know that was a thing. Hotel. That was a very popular video. So just to give you a bit of an overview, I believe Tim has worked in television before, moving over to YouTube, and then gradually built up his channel during lockdown. Essentially, when we were allowed to walk certain places, he was just started filming them and doing like a travelogue, like old school vlogging. And it's kind of gone on from there. So I'm going to share screen. And you don't have to see as much as me. So I thought I'll show you the first one. He makes a bit of a joke about, I was shocked as a comment, like in a title that people put. But do you know, I have a very, very tenuous understanding of how YouTube works. But I guess a lot of these things are like, what's it called, SEO. So you have to put certain words and phrases in there to catch the algorithm. And obviously, Tim's got a better understanding of it than me. Speaking of somebody who understands YouTube like the back of his hand, Gareth, good evening. You'll remember Judith Chalmers and Wish You Were Here, and things like that from when I was younger. You remember the holiday program. So it's kind of along those lines, but let's give it a whirl. I'll show you some of the grottier, disgusting ones as well later on as well. The ones I used to go to as a kid, like Pontins and Butlins. So one thing I do appreciate about Tim's work is his. Well, I am also, so hey ho. So yeah, the editing style and the sometimes you see, I've seen some videos about what he uses, and to be fair, he's upgraded a little bit, but the quality of what he does has always been really good. I don't know whether he gets a drone up there or uses what do you call it, like things that you can buy and just kind of buy that footage. I don't know. It looks to me like he films it himself. So this is his 7-star one, and he's rented this little Fiat, and he's going to like one of the most expensive hotels. Now, to give Tim a bit of credit, I think he just basically works out a wage for himself and then funnels the rest of the money that he makes from things into the channel, and then goes to these places for one night. And he basically goes for one night in these places because it's so expensive, ridiculously expensive for him to go to them. So when he goes on his own, it's a different vibe than when he goes with his wife. He seems to go to the nicer ones without his wife, which I always think is quite funny. And he brings his son along. But then I guess there are some things that are like kind of appropriate for babies and things like that. And then his wife is a singer, I believe, and she has different gigs. So I guess she can't always be available to go with him. So during some of these, he does get to speak to people. I always think it's a bit, I don't know how confident I would feel walking around talking to my camera on my own, like having a meal and chatting into a camera. I don't know, or even accidentally getting someone else on camera as well. I don't know if I'd find that quite interesting. Hey, Shamalos, how you doing? Thank you. Oh, that's good. Thanks. Yeah, it's a bit different. It's not my usual thing. Nice, keeping it going. Having some lovely food. Yeah, Tim does fish and chip reviews as well, or he used to do. I don't know if he does that as much. He's been to like all the different places like Claridge's and all the really posh afternoon tea places in London, and some of those he did take his wife with him. I find him quite innocent. Like some of the stuff that he comments on, you're a bit like, yeah, that is what it is. And then, but he holds all of the places to the same standard, which is quite interesting. So like sometimes even the grottier places, he'll be like, oh, this is really good because they've got this little tiny thing that works. And then other times he's like having a go because there's a little bit of dust in a really, really expensive one. So he uses the phrase overly a lot. He's like, it's not overly this, it's not overly that, which I always find quite funny. Some people are a bit like, why does he always talk about how many people can you get in the shower? But he says that that's to be like a unit of measurement that he uses to do it. But I don't know, to be honest, it does kind of make you seem like a bit of a swinger when you start saying stuff like, how many people can you get? How many people can we get in this shower? We're having an orgy later on. So yeah, I mean, to be fair, it does allow you the opportunity into a world that most of us, certainly me, are never going to get to experience. I mean, this is a 7-star one. And the different cultures and things like that. It's interesting how he takes them on. He has recently been doing about the sort of high life, what it's like on a plane, when you pay the extra to get those little suites on a plane, not suites that you eat, but the suites that you stay in. But he would literally go in them, experience this top of the range thing, and then come back. If you want to see a kind of more a different take on this kind of those kind of suites, Nico Amalana did some really cool ones recently, and his is a little bit more like, wow, I've never seen anything like this before. Whereas Tim spends his life going around hotels. I'm not saying he's jaded, but he does get to see a lot of top quality establishments. So yeah, group hugs in the shower. Maybe that's what it is. That's the more innocent. I'm trying to stay PG on this one. But look at the stuff they're getting in this incredible 7-star place I think it's in Dubai. Now, the prices of some of these things in the mini bars are insane. Now, a few years ago, we decided we were going to kind of do before we kind of settled down, we decided to go on some spend all our money basically and go to some really cool places and do them all in a row. And it was awesome. But you do look at those prices of some of the room service and the stuff in the fridge, and you think, oh my days, this is insane. So he gets. I mean, look at this, what he's getting. I mean, to be fair, for 7 stars, he's probably paying absolutely insane amounts of money, even for one night. The problem is what Tim has to do is then a lot of the time, which is quite funny, because he's only there a limited time, he has to eat so much so fast to try and get his money's worth. That there is no kind of time for him to sort of enjoy it. So I understand I'm sure he does enjoy it, but he's traveling a lot. I'm going to show you some of the first class plane stuff as well, and then I'm going to show you a bit closer to home near me. I'm going to show you in Manchester. And this is not as amazing to look at. So I'm gonna show you some places in Manchester. Some of them I may well have stayed in when I was younger, or different things like that. So I'll show you some really cool ones. Emirates first class. Let's have a look at that one. It's all right for Tim, innit? And then also share this tab instead. There we go. Why isn't it doing full screen? Here we go. There we go. It's doing full screen. So yeah, here he is. Let's see who have we got in the chat. Hey, Tony, how you doing, my friend? How's it going? I don't know if there's any Wigan-based hotels in this. I can't remember if I've ever stayed in a hotel. I know where there are some in Wigan. I know there's a Holiday Inn near the big Tesco. I'm sure Tim hasn't been to that. And yeah, a little Tim Hortons Tim Dots as well, Larry. I'm down with the North American people. Is it called Tim Tims or Tim Dots? Or anyway, Larry, good to see you. I'm just talking absolute nonsense. So yeah, I mean, I would love this, but the problem is I would become so huge. Like my belly would be massive because I just love my food and I don't like wasting stuff. So I'm a bit like what I think Tim does, which is he has a bit of everything. I would be like, I've got to eat everything. I've got to get my money's worth. Like everything when I go on holidays, money's worth. Like I take the shower caps, the shower gels, the soaps. Like if there's a toilet roll going, I will do that. Oh yeah, Larry's doing a bit of traveling at the moment, visiting conventions and enjoying himself. So hopefully, Larry, is that all over now? Or are you on your way back? Are you traveling? Is this how you're traveling? Is this just basically you now? Exactly the same as this that we're seeing on screen, but with a more handsome bearded gentleman. So yeah, so he's there. He's essentially, it's like almost like a round trip that he has in when he does the plane ones because they're just so ridiculously expensive. But I kind of got to give it up to Tim because he's done his time in like beds with bed bugs in and like some that he's had to leave because they were so infested or so smelly or so disgusting, or some that he's just stuck with. So to be fair to Tim, you know, he's done his time in the trenches. So yeah, I think that's all right. So he's having caviar, I think, here for the first time. I can't remember if I've done that. It looks well when Weatherspoons is Weatherspoons. I know there's a Weatherspoons hotel because Tim went there, unbelievably. But is there a Weatherspoons hotel in Wigan as well, or do you just mean like getting locked in and hiding? Well, I'll tell you a funny story once about when I was in West Horton and there was some trouble in the Robert Shaw, which used to be my local village pub at Weatherspoons, and I was in there and some trouble started and they locked us in instead of letting us out. And there was pool balls flying around. It was crazy. But yeah, well, I love the fact it's called the Robert Shaw. Yeah, I've never been in the Holiday Inn in Wigan though. Back to work as of yesterday. Oh man. Well, you know, you just think you're financing that next awesome group of people that you're going to meet. Yeah, Tim doesn't have a beard. It looks no, he doesn't have the beard going on. You know, he doesn't look as handsome as you, Larry. I'm afraid. You're very welcome. Wigan Weatherspoons Hotel was the first in the country. Oh my word! Right, so is that my first hotel blog? Because the way my ADHD brain works is that I can't focus on one thing on my channel. You know, the number one thing about YouTube is have a niche. Mine is essentially things I like, horror / classic media, but yeah, things I like. So maybe I could do. I visit the Wigan Weatherspoons Hotel. I was shocked. Get my first million that way. How about that? Tony, you're an absolute gent for telling me that. My mother-in-law still lives in Wigan, so maybe I'll just if it's that bad, I'll just leave and sleep on their sofa if she'll have me. So look at the quality of the food on this plane here. This is Emirates. He is trying to get his money's worth. He's getting the little sweets. I think he got like about 3 hours sleep on this because they kept waking him up with different things. I mean, look, he's getting all these sweets. Right, so let's do something a bit more sort of jarring, and let's go to Tim going to a little bit more of a grotty, disgusting, grody, as they'd say in America, I guess. Hey, grody and grotty kind of sound similar, don't they? So I'm going to have a look at not Claridge's, not EasyJet, not the tallest place in the world. Let's go to somewhere disgusting. £9.50 Sun Holiday. Now, I've never done one of these, but I have been to all the Butlins. I have been to all the Pontins because my dad didn't fly when I was a kid. So I'm afraid we did go to these horrible places. Some of them were lovely, but I think since then things have changed. So this is one way for those of you watching in the US or in other places. You used to be able to, I don't know if you still can, book a holiday for £10 through the Sun. Now, obviously, any self-respecting human being wouldn't buy the Sun in the first place. I could do a whole live stream about that, but I'm not going to. So he ended up paying, like getting different passes and things like that. So I think the total of it for 4 nights was for 4 people. I think it was like 130 quid. So yeah, I do like the rundown place videos myself. I don't know if you guys ever watched Dead Malls, Dan Bell's Dead Malls with the vaporwave. I love all that kind of stuff. So that's Gabby on the screen. That's his wife, Gabby. She's pretty cool. I like Gabby. Like it can sometimes things can go downhill a little bit when you bring another character into a long running series like Poochie and The Simpsons and things like that. But she is she is no Poochie, and she does not need to return to her home planet. They get a caravan now. I definitely like the balance between the good and the bad ones, but yeah, I do like the Dead Mall stuff. I think Dan Bell does some particularly good ones. So what Tim does now, because I think he's been kind of traumatized by everything, is that he asks for mattress encasements around the mattress now. And he went to one the other day. It was in Blackpool. And the bed was just the mattress. He opened it up and looked at the mattress, and I don't think it'd ever been changed since. Like it was, put it in this way, it's a hotel that Winston Churchill stayed in. It was absolutely disgusting, and it stank. And I was just like, oh my word. So yeah, Dead Malls are super creepy. but I do like it. And with the vaporwave and the 80s sort of aesthetic, I do like abandoned fun parks. Yeah, that's all. That's definitely my kind of thing. So this one, he gets the cheapest possible one he's ever done, and he brings his wife and his kid along, which I think is he didn't. I noticed he didn't take him to the 7-star one, but then I guess a lot of traveling can be quite hard with a young family, can't it? So, and if he's only staying for a day, so the ones maybe he's staying longer. Let's give it like they do one where they go on a boat, what do you call them, a barge, and actually he takes them along on that. That's pretty good. I feel like now, if I went to the holiday parks that I went to as a kid, it would be like it's just either like a knocking shop or drug addicts or just like screaming and shouting and people absolutely hammered. It's not like when I was a kid where it was like fun for the whole family. So I actually think this is pretty brave. if we can say it's brave to go to on holiday, this would be one of those. Obviously, there's some of these like ones. You know, if you Google like cheapest hotel, there's some in the UK that are like near Blackpool and stuff. Where it's like £15 a night or whatever. Yeah. But I guess what they're expecting to do is to stay in there an hour or so tops, if you know what I mean.
Now the staff on reception were really great. They brought a cleaner back here, and it smells so much better.
So it's been cleaned. They've had a bit of a whinge. Somebody I saw. This is why you should never look on Reddit. It's such a negative place. I guess X is as well, but I don't very rarely look on Reddit. But I typed in "Walk with me, Tim" on Reddit, and they were like, "Oh, and when she complained, it was like being a Karen and all that." I was like, "But hang on a minute, right? There should be a certain level of cleanliness if you're paying for it, no matter what you're paying for it. Now, does that make me a Karen? Do I look like a Karen? Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm probably the right age to be a Karen, but I just think like I hate complaining, and if I can get away without complaining, I would. But I'll be honest, I would complain if there was certain. I have certain non-negotiables. Let's put it that way. But I would say I'm pretty easygoing. Yeah, those sectional couch seatings were beds for me for a lot of my childhood, for sure. Me and my 2 dogs on the sofa bed, more of a sofa. This one doesn't look too bad actually, considering they've paid what for 4 days, just over £100. That's not bad. It's just there's some of them. There's one. I'm not sure if it's this one where they find all the insects in the middle of the night, and all the insects start attacking, and they have to leave. So like, there's a bit of that, you know. There's a bit of that too. But trust me, like I've stayed in worse places. I mean, when I moved into my when I wanted to become a teacher, and I moved up to Carlisle, and I moved into halls of residence. They were all like brand new. Fair enough, we're sharing the kitchen and the living area with like I think there's 7 or 8 of us. It's like the best place I'd ever lived in my life. I was like, this is gorgeous. This is amazing. So like, I would say I'm quite tolerant on where I will stay if needs be. But this for a cheap hotel is not too bad at all. Let's see. Yeah, I like. Yeah, it's not a bad deal actually. It's not a bad deal. Bugs is a no-go. Yeah, and that's why I think Tim started asking for those mattress encasements. Now, apparently you can ring any hotel and ask for them to do it before. I've never heard of that until I saw it on his channel, and I wondered if he was just being a bit OTT. But I guess when you get bit quite a lot, you probably get a bit fed up. Hey, it's Mr. Dan. Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, my word. Yeah, I bet when you were a kid, I bet people were doing mall walking and walking around the little tracks and doing the little with the headbands on and stuff. That'd be so cool to see. It's quite sad, isn't it? I mean, there's one mall in the UK, or there's a few, but there's one main one, which is the Trafford Centre, which is losing so much money that they can't afford to shut it down. So the people that own it lots of people have owned it over the years, but it's never made a profit. But all the businesses within it, there's a big food court, there's like a big ship, there's a Chinatown bit, there's loads of great bits, but it's never made a profit. but because of all the businesses involved and all of the the kind of the local government kind of lets certain things slide because it's such a hotbed of the economy. But they may, I think there's something like they lose a couple of million every year. Still going now, Trafford Centre. I used to go there when I was all the way into my 20s. Really, I don't go there anymore because it's so far away. But yeah, mall wise, we were just kind of following on. You know, American culture was very much influenced by that. If you think, I love films like Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge, Chopping Mall, Fast Times. I'm okay with. Mall Rats, I effing love. So yeah, Mr. Dan and Horrors here. Yeah, I'm the same. Certain insects, definitely. I just thought the idea of opening up your window to let a bit of air in, you're having a dump, and you just look out, and there's your friends and family or your next door neighbour having a barbecue. Hey, how's it going? Just having a dump. Yeah, but it was cool. Was it Spencer's Gifts? Because we had a kind of similar version of that over here with like all novelty stuff. I'd eat a bug if you dare me. Yeah, I had a friend who used to eat worms. Yeah. Wonder whatever happened to that guy. Everyone's saying hi in the chat. Thank you so much for joining me. This is a bit of a wholesome Matt one. There's no blood and guts, and there's a few insects, which I guess we could make into a horror film. Let me know how the sound is and the picture and everything, because I've just switched over to a new setup. So they're doing a bed test. Don't get excited. It's just lying on the bed. If it, for me, it'd be like, oh yeah, baby, we're going to do bed test, and then it'd cut to me just jumping up and down on the bed like a like a big kid. So yeah, that's.
No, there isn't. Oh, that's There's just one basic lamp. There's no television.
No television in the bedroom. Well, to be fair, I don't know about you guys, and this might be controversial, but I'm a no television in the bedroom kind of guy. Never wanted one as a kid. Never. Well, maybe I did, but I don't want one as an adult because I find it hard enough to get to sleep anyway. So, when I was a kid, and we used to go to completely change the subject and go to caravans like this, I remember once there was a guy who used to do magic because it was like an entertainment club. And during the day, all the kids would just follow this guy around, like pestering him for magic tricks and stuff. My word, that'd be a no these days, wouldn't it? Spencer's it.
And with Sun Holidays,
yeah.
9 times out of 10,
Counting edible underwear was surreal. That's so funny, Dan. Yeah. What's it made out of, edible underwear? And like, would it fill you up if you ate enough of them? Would it be a substantial meal? You know. That's the question, I guess. So you know, I'm not eating it if it's not going to fill up the old belly. Yeah, screen time. I guess TVs in the bedroom is one way, but then I guess I sit there on my phone now more than I used to do. My wife likes Kindles. She's always on the Kindle. I don't like any light. I have an eye condition, and I really struggle with white. So yeah, this I think isn't a particularly. This is the £9.50 Sun one, but it says never again. So I'm going to skip to near the end. I believe that. Oh, here we go. We left shortly after. So this is what happens at night. Okay, so we had an early night. Okay, so this is what happens. I remember this one. 1:45 a.m.
Tim, put the light on.
There's insects all over the bed.
Is that what I think it is?
It's a bed bug. Oh, it's a good time for my dog to make a noise then. It's going to be the world's biggest bed bug, but it's just Marcy. Oh, it's on the phone. I'm going to be sick. So like I say, they've done their time. I've got to say though, if I was Gabby, I'd be like, so you're not taking me to the 7-star hotel in Dubai with the gold everywhere, but you are taking me to the to the one with the bed bugs. They can get in your hair. You can take them home. That's the problem with bed bugs, isn't it? You can take them home. It's like lice.
Really early in the morning. To be honest, this is going to.
It's over now, Nate. You can look back now. It's over.
Phobia bed bugs.
And he has a phobia of it anyway. So then after this video, things really escalated. So even when he goes to like Claridge's and all the posh ones in London and around the world, he always looks and asks for a mattress encasement.
Completely freaks me out because I did kind of check the mattress, but I didn't check it very well. I noticed it was a brand new mattress.
So he always checks the mattress. Now, how many people do check the mattress? Like, not just the, like if it's got a mattress topper on it, are you okay with that?
Yes, it was confirmed it was a bed bug. So we basically rang up the holiday
I don't know, man.
day to say what had happened and said we literally left in the middle of the night. It was actually really traumatic, and especially with Casper as well.
I don't know.
I think it was 2:30 in the morning. There's no way we wanted to stay there, and I'm sure you can probably.
I can understand why they would want to leave. I think I would leave in that situation. Gee whiz. Like, so just kind of showing you their kind of their origin story, I guess. And now I think Tim is on the way to getting 500,000 subscribers. I think one of his videos did 5 mil, which is insane. Yeah, you know, she's really nice, Gabby. She's she's really cool. I think she's like a singer on maybe like cruise ships and things like that.
It was so difficult.
It absolutely clings. The funny thing is, from a distance, you just don't think much of them.
But Tim's like got a kind of like an awkward charm. I think she's like a bit more like sort of down to earth. So they make a good couple. Like,
not necessarily blaming the holiday park for this, although I did check.
I mean,
when I went in, but I didn't check it very thoroughly, to be fair.
So I don't know what happened, what the end of this was. Obviously, if it's a £9.50 holiday, like what you're gonna get, you know, like you're gonna get what you pay for to a certain degree, but that doesn't mean that you should be having insects all over your place. So I'm gonna show you a different one now, just to kind of take you on a bit of a wide range of Tim related stuff. They've been to the Savoy. They've been to sleeper trains and things like that. Now, that's something I would like to do, a sleeper train. There's not many. I think there's only one in the UK, and it doesn't look that good. But I'd like to do one abroad, maybe the Orient Express. I've been on the film that they used, the carriage that they use for Murder on the Orient Express, the film, and I've done a video on it recently. That's coming out quite soon, actually. It's probably one of the best videos I've made, if I could say so myself. I did a lot of research for that one. So that one's coming out soon. But Tim's been on some much more on the actual ones that move. He's been on the QE2. Not a lot of boats. There are a lot of boat bloggers I've noticed, and I'd love to go on a big cruise boat like that. However, I did watch Poseidon and all the Poseidon Adventure sequels and the original Poseidon Adventure back to back, and my wife was in view of them, and I think that may have put her off. So we might not be going on a cruise soon. And there's like Disney cruises and all that kind of stuff. But like, I'd like to go on a proper dress up and sit at the captain's table cruise. That would be awesome. He's done all kinds of things, the world's tallest hotel and all that kind of thing. There is a couple of guys who do cruises, and they're always like, okay, guys, right, I've got to tell you guys, right, guys, okay, guys. It's like 99 guises in a row, and honestly, I just couldn't take it. I think they're the most popular ones, so I was like, right, okay, guys, I'm done with this. With Tim, I find it more endearing, the stuff that, obviously, we all have things that we say a lot. I have things. If you watch my videos, I have certain things that I say a lot, and that's fine. I just don't have a lot of people to comment on it and notice these things. That's the thing with success, isn't it? Like, I noticed that people are clipping Tim's videos and putting them on like other social media, like Instagram and TikTok, and he's like, "What can I do about it?" I'm afraid like people do that for Joe Rogan, people do that for the big YouTube channels because, well, the copyright of other YouTube channels, unless you're using music and stuff, it belongs to YouTube, doesn't it? So unless if you're making comment on it, you're kind of covered. But if you're stealing it and pretending to be that person, I don't know. But again, it's probably the price of being successful. I mean, for me, it's like it's not my job; it's a hobby, and I enjoy it, and I just like the people I chat to, so I can't really relate. But yeah, I think Tim is growing now to the point where he gets about 500,000, roughly 500,000 or 250,000 for each of the videos that he does. He's done ones like motorhomes and stuff like that, and now I think he's at the point where he could go anywhere and he gets a decent one. I was trying to look for one near where I lived or where I used to live. I don't live there anymore. sort of Manchester way, because these are ones that are quite familiar. I stayed in one near Piccadilly Gardens when I was in my 20s, and that was an experience. Piccadilly Gardens, there's always something going off around there. So let's have a look at some more worst rated, because I think they're fun, and then we'll finish off with really amazing. This is the worst rated hotel in the UK. The next one I'm going to show you. Hey, Bud Files. This feels like something out on the Bud Files, like, you know, when you go traveling, and except you look at interesting places on your channel and you look at kind of like attractions, whereas I guess Tim's is more the hotel rather than the attractions. But yeah, I think you might like his channel, actually, Bud Files. So yeah, thanks for joining, as always. Such a massive supporter of the channel. I really do appreciate it. In fact, everybody who's commented so far, just awesome people. And the people who are watching, thank you for watching. It's really cool to have so many people watching. So this is somewhere where, when I was a kid, I went on holiday to this place. Didn't stay in a hotel, stayed in a caravan, as was what we always did. This is the worst rated hotel in the UK. So I think Scarborough, like a lot of seaside towns, are struggling in the UK. Obviously, as soon as we got to the 70s and we could go on package holidays and leave the UK, people did. And also, it's quite a lot of places quite expensive. But you're talking nearly 4,000 negative reviews on this hotel. So I think Tim gives things a fair shot. It's really weird how sometimes I think it's actually quite objective in a way, because he judges like the 7-star hotel in Doha the same way as he would this one. I don't know if in the UK maybe more people know who he is now, so it's probably harder for him to go to places. Oh my word, look at those. Or at least what they've done is they've just put the little the wire things on to keep the wires separate so that they don't start a fire, and then just left them.
And there's a whole load of paint here.
Oh my days. You said that's not going to look very nice on my bum. Tim, language, please. I'm trying to keep this PG. I mean, I have used kettles. Sometimes I have to travel for work, and I have used kettles in hotels. But then I heard about people using them to like do their washing in the kettle, like boiling their underpants and stuff in the kettle and drying them out. In which case, that's really selfish. And it does explain the rather salty. No. This is not looking too great, the Grand Hotel. No, I loved it in Scarborough, so much so that when I was 4 years old, the story goes that I cried all the way back to Greater Manchester because I didn't want to leave Scarborough because I loved it so much. So, you know, I didn't have a lot to compare it to, I guess, when I was a little kid, but yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's true. A lot of people on TripAdvisor moan about the silliest things. You know, I don't know about you guys. Have you ever left any reviews on things like TripAdvisor? I've maybe left 2 reviews. One was for a restaurant who were like gaslighting us into saying that we hadn't booked, and then we got all dressed up, ready to go, and came back, went to the restaurant, and they had no space for us, and we were like, we've booked. And anyway, there was an issue there. And then the other one was the other one that I complained about was a terrible experience with a solicitor, you know, like a lawyer. But I'm not somebody who's like, oh, this food was slightly above this temperature or slightly below this temperature, blah blah blah. No, I'm not one of those people.
This is one impressive.
I like to give people a break and be nice to people if I can.
Look at the space.
I know. Isn't that nice? Did they just call Manchester Winchester back in the day? There is a Winchester as well, Winchester Cathedral as well, but I didn't know that. You could be right. My knowledge of Manchester history is not amazing. How many people are living in Manchester at the moment? Not that we're there, we're in Scarborough in this video, but
one more to go.
Probably a lot more than where I'm living now. Oh, about just over 568,000, it says in Manchester. So that's where I used to live, and now I live in Cumbria. So it's where my village that I live in is about maybe about 2,000, 3,000 people max. I got some friends in Leeds. My next door neighbour used to live in Leeds. Huh. I've got a friend who supports Leeds. He's not from Leeds, but he follows the football team.
What the heck is
So
that?
the problem with this is a lot of these places, what they do is they get into business with the coach companies, and then they take the old folks to these places, and they do like a deal where you get your food, your room, day trips. The coach driver stays with you, drives you there, drops you off, and it's like super cheap. So it doesn't pay for them to look after these places that much. They do it. They basically just think, well, people are paying for these cheap package deals, and they're not.
So I'm here.
They don't really care what it's like.
You are here.
My mum and dad are
Take it
quite
away.
old, and they've been on
5:16.
quite a lot of them, but they stopped going on the ones like those because the quality of the hotels were just so horrendous. And some of the stories they told me was very similar to what I've seen on here. So, White Diamond and Silk Codes. White Diamond is like the sort of cider, isn't it, that you would drink on the park when you get Silk Cut. That's Silk Cut. I don't even know if they still make Silk Cut, but they were, if I can remember, quite aggressive on the old throat. The once or twice I've ever tried them. So like we'll go back in a minute and we'll have a look at some of the more affluent sort of ones. These ones I can kind of identify with, and I don't know about you. I do prefer looking at the gross ones more than I do the other ones. I'm going to put some subtitles on as well so we can hear what Tim's saying over my voice. If you can hear me okay and it's not too
That is my view.
So this is the most replayed bit of the video. So the radiator's making a bit of a noise. Obviously it's the age of these places, and they're probably not getting the same amount of people going. It's just a vicious cycle. They're owned by a lot of these places are owned by the same companies that own the coach companies, you see. So they just don't really give a damn.
What a random room.
There is a lot of these just weird old, because they're so big, these old buildings, that they just don't know what to do with them. Just like stacks of chairs or a massive pool table or whatever in it.
An audition or something if you're an
Cheapskates. Is that basically going on like really low budget holidays? That sounds interesting. Yeah, so a lot of these places, like I had a lot of love for, like Scarborough, Blackpool, where else? Other places in Wales. A lot of them I have a lot of love for, mainly because it's where I was introduced to like watching live shows. Like not like that, but watching live shows like Cannonball, Little and Large, Brian Conley, Joe Longthorne, Keith Harrison Orville, Ken Dodd. I guess what in America you call like vaudeville, like the Chuckle Brothers. I saw all of those people live, and I just learned, like, I just soaked up all this old-fashioned comedy and history and showbiz, and it just felt exciting. And you got to see all these things in places like Blackpool. I know people jokingly call it Las Vegas of the North, but back in the day, before it became just a horrible place, sadly, where people were really down on their luck, and that's not necessarily all their fault. Like somebody said, if you're working whatever hours it is a week, 50 hours, 60 hours a week or whatever, and you've not got enough money to survive, then it's the person who's paying you's fault. If you're literally not just, anyway, it was a place, Blackpool and Scarborough and all these places were just such amazing places to go to watch entertainment. Look, even in a hotel, you get this kind of stuff. I mean, look at this. Like, this is the worst rated hotel in the UK. Beautiful theatre like this. And we're losing cinemas as well. My favourite cinema is closing down. The Royalty in Bowness, which is the ones that I had that were when I was a kid. They don't exist anymore. But yeah, it's just sad. Like, to see these places, you could be putting on shows and all that kind of stuff. Live experiences are what it's all about. And like, I know that in America you've got Las Vegas, haven't you? And like the same level of person, I guess you maybe have those top acts who are in the big places, and then if you go down the scale a little bit, you've got people who are maybe not as, their time of being famous is over. They're doing really well. But it would be lovely to see a re-emergence of the British coastline or the British
See, the rooms are actually also
music hall
in
kind of stuff, but I don't know if
places.
that'll ever happen.
Apparently, they do have
Putting
quite a
shows because there's so many like you see things now. There's like so many podcasts that go on the road and stuff. There's got to be a way of doing this. There's got to be a way of coordinating. It's just sadly what it happens is these big companies buy up these places and they don't give them any love.
I have no idea where I'm going.
Um,
There's plenty of room to get lost. and
oh,
relax.
cool. Bit of urban exploring.
This particular space is those rooms.
There's where I'm from in Stockport, or where I used to live. I've lived most of my life in Stockport. I found this out recently. There was like a village high up and behind the big theatre that had not been touched for like 30 years with shops and bars and stuff, and you just couldn't get into it. And I'd never even heard about it. And somebody did an urban exploring video of it, and I was like, oh my word, it hadn't been touched since the 90s.
There's definitely been a paint job. It's just a shame they got it all over the bath and the carpet and the headboard and stuff like that. The kettle, not overly great. The TV that I had to plug in myself and kind of.
He always says not overly, not overly.
Shame about the bath didn't work, but I thought I got lucky there for a moment. But the rest of the hotel, although
I gotta say, like anybody else who's successful, he'll have his negative people who say stuff about it. But I find it a really good video. I find it quite interesting.
So I'll let you make your mind up in the comments. Is it that bad?
Oh yeah. Well, this year I'm going back to the most haunted castle in the UK, and I'm going to stay there for where they're doing some live ghost hunting. So I'm going to try and film as much of that as I can, and then the next day, my plan is to go to the set of The Wicker Man, which is about another maybe an hour to 2 hours away, and do 2 locations back to back. But yeah, Scarecaster it's called, and they do like a live experience of like people acting and scaring you, and then they do like a real life ghost hunting stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna do that one. This one, I think I'm going to show you another bad one. I know I said I was going to finish with a good one, but I'm going to show you another bad one because this one I have actually stayed in myself, which is Sashas Manchester. It's got a lot of bad reviews. And to be honest, I was in Manchester this weekend at the Batman experience, Batman Unmasked. And yeah, I don't know, maybe it's just a tumultuous time at the moment, but the best thing about being near Manchester is that all the gigs and all the things you can see, all the stuff you can do. But the bad thing about it is sometimes it can be quite a scary atmosphere, quite a negative atmosphere, or dangerous in certain parts, which is a shame. And that's for somebody who's born and bred there, so and spent a lot of time there.
A free upgrade. Okay. Is that still with that no windows? Why was I upgraded then? All right, that's kind of you. Are the ones without windows not very nice? How much is that? 55. Okay.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I'll be filming that. I think it's the weekend of Halloween when I'm booked in to go, or maybe just after Halloween. So yeah, I'll just miss Halloween.
It's like one of those wacky hall of mirrors. I look really fat in it with really short, dumpy legs.
Let's have a look and see if there's some of the most replayed bits.
The air conditioning, I take it. Again, not very bright in here. The camera shows it a bit more brighter than usual. You can tell once upon a time they
in
the bathroom.
Psycho 2 and Psycho 3, Bates Motel. It makes for a good film.
Very old style sink. Not completely on point, but they've folded.
Oh no, they've not folded the toilet paper. I love that he'll see something will be hanging off the wall, absolutely disgusting, and Tim will be like, "Well, you've not folded the toilet paper perfectly." It doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look too bad.
Definitely 90s, isn't it? Look at that. What on earth is that?
You stuck something over that. I don't know what it is.
Clean. The shower head also looks pretty new. Even the taps here, they look new as well. You can tell they're new because they've just been added onto the bath. This bathroom is definitely vibes on it.
I have stayed here. I hate to say it, but I think my room was worse than this one. But they did say at the beginning, if you saw it at the beginning, the guy said, "Oh, we haven't got your room. We'll give you a free upgrade." So.
Stay pretty clean.
most of these places I'll have stayed when I was going to a gig in Manchester, whether it's like the UFC back in the day, or like Motley Crue, or Judas Priest, or even like John Mayer, Twisted Sister, Vampire Weekend, and I would stay over in Manchester at some cheapo hotel. I was a lot braver then as I am now. Now I think as you get older, you just like peace and quiet more, don't you? Woo, peace and quiet. All right. I think Tim's about my age, so I don't know, man. Someone's got a dog in the room. Is that okay? Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
So again, you get lost in these hotels.
So let's have a look and see what else has he got in Sashas. Sashas doesn't look too bad.
This is eerie down here. It's really quiet.
Yeah, driving at night, probably the more sensible option. I don't mind it too much. Now I live out in the countryside, driving at night adds more time on, because once I'm off the motorway, I'm doing little windy roads and it can get a bit tricky. So I try and get back while it's still at least still light. Whereas I used to like to travel at night. And to be honest, my neck has been bothering me something ridiculous. So I'm trying to travel less now. I used to love driving around. I used to love, like, if somebody said to me, oh, we've got you some work 4 hours away, I'll do the 4 hours, do the work, speak to the people I need to speak to, and then come back and do the 4 hours straight back in the same day. Like, no bother.
See how these doors are open? I don't know what's through that door, and I'm not gonna.
But as you get older, your body starts falling apart.
That's where the fans are when it gets hot.
There's all Tim's fans. Hey. I love the flashing light in the disabled lift there, which looks like some out of Stranger Things.
A fire exit for a restaurant. Maybe we'll have a look at that in a minute. Interesting.
Oh no, it's not. It's not a disabled lift. It looked like a disabled lift.
Floor where that chair's been moved.
That chair's.
Around.
They just moved the chair to cover the dirt on the floor. Right. Let's finish off by going somewhere nice. Let's give Tim a break of going around his disgusting places, and let's have a look at some nice places. Now I'm on the worst rated hotels playlist at the moment, so let's see from Walk With Me Tim what we've got. Well, I did show you his most watched video earlier on, which was the one in Dubai, which I believe had 5 million views. He's got his channel's set out quite well, actually. It's a nice. Wonder if he'll get to 5. He's on 495k subscribers at the moment. So let's have a look. The world's best business class, Qatar, or should we have a look at deserted luxury island? How about that? Oh, let's go to the DJ hotel in Ibiza. That's a nice one, I believe. So he's got a I've seen this one. This is quite a recent one. So I'm going to show you the hotel that is also a DJ hotel. Now, I'll be honest, this might be. Yeah, the one in Manchester was Sashas. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. But then again, it's probably not the worst. So yeah, this concert hotel in Ibiza. I think this would be my idea of hell.
15 minutes later.
So I don't know.
So our room is not ready yet.
So who? Martin Garrix? Anybody heard of him? He's on the DJ. Honestly, I don't know any DJ names.
Like to be here, but when no one else is here.
Yeah, I mean they're known for it, aren't we? We're known for having these amazing DJs. It's just, I mean, it's not my kind of thing, but you know, I'm not like slagging it off. If people like that, they like it. A bit of scaring my dog.
Kind of like you can't. if you think about the spilt drinks and
I like a bit of reggae. I like a bit of reggae too, without sounding too David Brent. I like a bit of like
it's like right now you're at a festival before anyone else is
like
here.
Damian Marley. He's pretty good. I got a really good
So I wonder if the
really
first
good
few
box
people
set
literally
of
go
all the
running up
really
to the
old
stage,
reggae.
'cause
It's
I've
like a
seen that
purple box set. I'm trying to remember what it was. I absolutely love that one. Obviously, like a bit of ska, but yeah, garage. Not really my kind of thing, but I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? If you're the sort of person, I'm not like a night out dancing kind of person, so it's not really not my bag, baby.
out the beach bar, I think.
She's a good sport, though. His wife, when she goes along, Gabby, she's a good
No
sport.
re-entry, darling. There you go. This is the beach bar. Wow, look at the flowers. Looks so pretty. This is where we come for breakfast in the morning.
For me, holidays are all about food and drink and
This is a great beach.
I mean, food and drink, visiting nice places, maybe going to like the best, like this kind of thing would be nice, beach. But like, I live near a beach now, and it's the best when there's no one else there. Is that bad? Is that a bad thing to say when it's just me and my dog walking down the beach?
To come here just to see the act. This is where you'd queue up.
So yeah, so people can come to this place and actually queue up and then go to the gig. But like you can see it from your room. To be fair, that might be the best way for me to enjoy a DJ, which is I can just go back into my room. However, I can't just then close the door and it'll be quiet. So you'd have to get the full, full performance, the full thing, whether you like it or not. I like the sort of sped up things, but again, I find it really hard going around filming. Like literally, there's loads of people around, and you're filming them. Like, are they okay with that?
Let's go upstairs. I don't know how much extra
Oh, cool. Do you know I got rid of a lot of my CDs? I've still got some of my vinyl, but I got rid of a lot of my CDs. Still got some of them, like some that I just couldn't get rid of. On my Jeff Buckley stuff, I always keep that Jeff Buckley because
you've got your own little plunge pool.
holidays are best out. Yeah, I guess one of the things as well is like it makes you appreciate being home a bit more, doesn't it?
Minimum spend of €2,000. I think I'll pass. So it's 4:30. The room is
Oh, so you get your own waiter if you're willing to spend £2,000 that night.
It's a little bit more quiet. We do get a couple of complimentary drinks.
If that's beer, that is flat as a pancake. Look at that. There's nothing unless it's been sat there for a while.
Would go for a shandy.
Oh, it's a shandy. Okay, so it's lemonade and lager.
The lighting is a little bit odd, isn't it?
I'm not so sure about lemonade and lager. Not that I'm like, oh, it's not strong enough for me, mate. More about like, I just think the lemonade and beer taste is a bit, just made me feel a bit sick. Used to drink it when I was a kid. But even then, you were a bit like, ugh. I like going to things like shows and plays and events and experiences and stuff, like getting as much, finding out as much about the place as possible and seeing as much of it as I can.
Check out what? It's 11 o'clock. And the money that you spend on...
So they've still not managed to check in at this place because it's so chaotic at this point. But again, if I'm spending thousands and thousands, I would get really, really, really fed up if I'm like not getting a lot of what I'm paying for. I'd be more upset about that if I'm paying for something, if they were like snobby or what have you, than if it was in a rubbish hotel where I wasn't getting as much.
And although we can go around to the bar, we can have a drink there. It is a bit of a mission.
I see a video. Yeah.
To get to the swimming pool, and it requires a bit of walking. So every time you want to check back and see if your room is ready, it's a mission to get here. So
they're getting a bit peed off that they've got to that they can't check in yet.
Finally ready. We're in 2-2.
So this one, I remember thinking this was really expensive because I think what you're doing is you're paying for that entertainment as well. you're paying for the gig in the evening as well.
203. I think we're the other way. People are queuing to come in. So the lady did apologise for the
So the
lateness of
gig
our
is getting
room,
to
and
start.
she's given us a complimentary bottle of champagne.
So they give them a bottle of champagne for taking so long to get them sorted. And things like that, I don't mind. Like, I had a really bad experience somewhere once, and the guy gave me, like, some cinema tickets. And I was like, right, all bets are off. Thank you very much. That, you know, that's kind. That's a good thing to. I appreciate you recognizing the problem.
I don't know what the rules are in Spain. About
Yeah, me too. Especially if there's like all you can eat buffets, and then you can go and watch film, then you can go watch a show,
This is the bar area you should walk in, though.
go and chill out with the captain.
If only it was a free
If it's like the
bar.
Love Boat, essentially, is what I'm looking for. Exciting and new is what I'm looking for.
Nothing in the drawers. But look at that. Look at all the chips on that and all the scuff marks.
It's funny how he notices little scuff marks and stuff like that. It's like, don't bother me too much.
Bar is behind us. So we've got a vaping kit. We've got a big bottle of velvet.
Sometimes they go to these and there's like a kind of naughty weekend kit that they leave them, like for things to do. Oh man, go to Jamaica. Isn't Jaws 4? Isn't that in Jamaica? Or am I thinking no, maybe somewhere else?
Got some gummy bears and some
Where that Jaws 4, where the where Jaws 4 where the shark has a vendetta that means that it moves all the way over to the West Indies or something. I need to watch that again because it's. I just remember it being absolutely ridiculous.
What is it?
It's to stop a hangover. So you take it the next day.
Oh, hangover to help you with a hangover. Nice.
Check out the funky furniture. That's like a. Is that like a hand?
They all look fine, or is it just that one particular one, or is it broken? Marks all over it. In fact, that's not even a mark. That's actually a hole.
And it does look a bit dirty, doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't look very appealing.
The design is pretty funky. Nice big TV, Bose sound system on there. Look at these chairs.
I mean,
You've had surgery on your bum.
I don't know if this would be for me, but sitting on those big hemorrhoid cushions might not be something I want to do.
That's weird. The room is quite expensive, but
I like hot places, but for me, I'd like to. This is going to sound a bit crazy. I'd like to visit Canada. I'd like to visit maybe like maybe Alaska or the Arctic, or I like cold places. So there's rust on the. I mean,
This is just so random that there is a bath here. I mean,
so the bath is in the middle of the room in this place. I'm going to skip just to kind of show you their gig later on and see what it's like.
things that's going to be happening a lot.
There we go.
little lad, isn't he?
He's only a little lad, she says. I mean, if it was somebody really cool, I would like to see this. To you know, if it was it'd be ideal if it was a performer you really liked. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of somebody who. Do you know who I quite like at the moment? And this is unlikely that he would be playing somewhere like this, but I've been really getting into Zach Bryan's new album, The Great American Bar Scene. That's a hell of an album. Springsteen's on there. It's good, man. I don't think he'd be playing in Ibiza, would he? Ibiza, Do you remember that from Popstar? Never stop stopping. Yeah, I had an auntie that lived in Canada, and she said it was great. I'd love to go. Plus, I'm a massive Bret Hart fan. All Canadians are usually funny people, polite. I feel like it's like the best of the US. I know it's not in the US, but it kind of feels like, obviously, it's North America. Dancing away. Obviously, got to take the copyrighted music off. There's a new feature on YouTube where you can mute out the music and still have the voices on, which I think is pretty cool.
How on earth am I ever supposed to get to sleep when that racket is going on?
You can't get to sleep, Tim.
Finishes dead on 11 o'clock.
Oh.
11:30. this is going to feel very.
So 11:30, everyone's gone. That's pretty insane.
So even though we're having an amazing time, unbelievably, we've got dinner reservations like at 10 o'clock.
And then we got to go and get their dinner.
I want to show you the full experience. So if we don't go.
Oh, I don't know John Blomqvist. I'll have to check that out. I'm always interested in new music.
So by the time we come back, this place will look completely.
So I'm gonna take Tim off the screen for now, and just kind of finish off the stream, because it kind of gives you a little bit of a taste. You're either going to be interested in that or not. I do think that Tim he makes some good quality stuff. There's a real range of stuff of things in there. I maybe not explained it the best I could. It's hard to explain really in a way that doesn't make it just sound like every other travel vlogger. I feel that there's a real smoothness to the presentation. It feels like something that could be on TV. It covers the things that you actually want to see in a pretty fair, even-handed way. There's the little, like I said in my video at the beginning, little quirks and stuff about him that I think make him quite likable. I don't mind his family and him and people like that. So yeah. So if you've got time, check out Tim's video. See if you can get him to 500,000 through like maybe 1 or 2 people who watch this video and say that they might want to like it. They might check it out. But yeah, I just thought comfort TV, comfort videos and things like that is something that maybe I'll come back to. Things that you like to watch maybe over and over again that you always go back to. For me, when I was a kid, it was Saved by the Bell. When I was a bit older, it was like Community. I used to always watch Community. But then there's like film series that you watch over and over again, even though you like Police Academy or like maybe the Carry On films, or whether you go back and watch all the Batman series or the Harry Potters. I'd be really interested to see what's your comfort YouTube channel. I know I have a friend who watches a Disney one, that like a Disney travel, like somebody always goes around all the different Disneylands and Disney parks and stuff, watches those. So yeah, who knows? There might be some things that you can tell me, maybe put in the comments, different comfort things that you like to watch. I mean, YouTube is great for that. I think there's so many cool stuff. There's a guy who talks about music that I always watch called Trash Theory. He's awesome. His stuff really always digs out something new about music that I didn't know about before. So I'm going to check out John Blomqvist. Yeah, man. Make sure I do. Yeah, because my memory's appalling. So yeah, guys, what with me, Tim. I'm just going to play the little intro video again, and thank you so much for all the people that have watched, that have come and gone during the video and in the chat. But obviously, people have come and gone watching the chat. And those of you who are watching in the future, do you watch Tim already? Do you watch these things? Are there any other travel vloggers that I might like? I know there's some that are train-based, boat-based. My wife watches a guy who goes, I know a woman who goes on all the boats, and she takes like a little teddy bear with her. That seemed okay. It wasn't quite up my street, but I get why people like that. So thank you so much for joining me. Thanks, Nate, for adding so much to it. Pat Master, check out his channel for adding so much all the way through there, right from the beginning. I really do appreciate that. And yeah, so this is my new setup. Hopefully a bit clearer to hear, or clearer to see. So that's awesome. And yeah, thank you to everybody who's watched. And yeah, what with me, Tim? What are your thoughts? Like it? Loathe it? Sometimes things that I don't know, I was going to say the things that I recommend other people might not like, but that is just the way things go, isn't it? I sometimes do, I'm not saying it's like this in this case, but I sometimes do like a bit of moving wallpaper just to calm my brain down. I find it really hard now. We live in the high premium TV channel, TV series, limited series things. Like, I kind of tapped out of that after like Sopranos, The Wire, and all that kind of stuff, because they, for me, just couldn't top it. They couldn't get better. But I'm sure there's some great stuff on now, Succession and all that kind of stuff. But to sit down and watch them all would be really hard. And then I just end up going back to Riff Tracks or Miami Connection or The Room or something. So yeah, you guys all have a great day, great evening, great morning, wherever you are. Thank you very much. I appreciate you too. And thank you so much, guys. I'm just going to play the little introduction to Tim video that I made. And tomorrow I am watching something completely different. I'm getting into the sort of barbarian season of things. I'm going to start having a look at Fire and Ice, the Ralph Bakshi rotoscoped swords and sorcery animated film. I'm going to watch that tomorrow. The link to it is in my community tab, so you can watch it with me on YouTube. And even if you don't watch it with me, just watch it on your own. It's great. So we're going to watch that. And then on Sunday, I'll be watching Nosferatu, the Vampire, the Werner Herzog film with Klaus Kinski. And further on in the month, I'll be watching Confessions of a Driving Instructor, Uer, and maybe squeeze something else in between. Sounds a bit ominous, but yeah, we'll squeeze something else in between. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate every single person who watches, especially you guys who leave comments. You're just the best people. Like honestly, reading the comments is like one of my favorite things to do, and answering you guys, or you've got something to say about one of the videos that I make. And I'm probably going to stick almost exclusively to lives, I think, after the things that I've scheduled run out. Something very, very big coming up soon in terms of a new podcast that I'm doing on the YouTube page. Keep eyes out for that. It's all ghost related, with a really, really great horror author. So we'll be talking. I have to keep that one quiet for now, but that's going to be like maybe 10 episodes. So that's a big one, which the whole channel will be dedicated to. So that's something to look forward to in the future. So, yeah, thanks so much. I'll just play the little video and I will leave you in peace. Enjoy your the rest of your day. Let's see, where are we? Here we are. Goodbye, everyone.
Walk With Me, Tim is my favourite comfort television or comfort YouTube. Over the last couple of years, I've really got into watching Walk With Me Tim channel. Got to know Tim, his wife Gabby, their son Casper, who sometimes goes on their trips, and it really is in the style of the old-fashioned British travel show before we could all go to lots of exciting places. And those who followed Tim's career have seen him go up to getting 5 million views for some of his videos, all the way from around 50,000 when he started, which is still pretty amazing. The thing about Tim is that it is in the style of the old-fashioned, comfortable, and informative. The thing that I like about it is it feels familiar, and we get to see Tim go to all different kinds of locations. Now, he started off very much at the beginning of the boom of filming terrible hotels and awful experiences, and now through the success of the channel, Tim goes to some of the more wonderful places around the world for 1 night or 2 nights and really gets to see. But he still has the same approach to these wonderful places as he does to the others. A likable chap who uses some of the same phrases in each video, adding to that familiarity. I find him quite funny at times. I find him a bit like a friend that I have, in the sense he has lots of sort of dad jokes and certain foibles and quirks that he has as he goes along. They're always filmed really well. Lots of information. Always talking about how many people can you get in the shower. And I really liked him. There's an innocence there. There's a fun there. Sometimes a little bit of a lack of self-awareness. There's a little bit of an Alan Partridge vibe at times, which is very endearing. Gabby has a little bit more of a kind of humorous edge to her approach to things, so she adds a really nice vibe to it. And they're just a lovely family, they really are. So it's really nice to see their success. So what I've done is I've put together a little compilation. A compilation of some of Tim's best moments or things that I find interesting. And I'm going to do a live stream where I watch these back and talk about them. So I hope you can join me and talk about Walk With Me Tim.